and thank you for being here today. So we are Group 7 from BSN 1A and we are here to share important information about the harmful effects of excessive smoking and drinking. Our goal is to raise awareness and how these habits can seriously impact your health and lifestyle, and to empower you with knowledge that can help you make healthier choices. So to formally start our session, let me turn in over to Mr. Alfie Labuan, who will lead us in a brief spiritual invocation and introduce our learning objective for today's session.
Okay, so let us all please rise for our opening prayer. For the Catholics, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. Father, and Son, and Holy Spirit. Okay, so these are our objectives. So after the teaching session, the 20 to 40-year-old participants will be able to first define and describe how excessive smoking and drinking can cause harmful effects to our body. Second, assess and identify common health problems associated with excessive smoking and alcohol use, including the harmful effects that it can cause to our body. And third, differentiate and explain the general relationships between excessive smoking and alcohol use and increased health risks towards our lifestyle. And of course, lastly, synthesize, apply, and show general strategies for reducing the risk of excessive smoking and alcohol use. Okay, so our first discussion is about introduction of the nature of the vices. So what are vices? So, vice is a moral depravity or corruption, wickedness, or habitual and usually trivial defect or shortcoming. So, vices often come from desiring pleasure or an attempt to cope with emotional or mental issues. Thus, it is considered immoral or wrong action. So, for example, we have greed, envy, lust, gluttony, anger, laziness, pride, and of course, we have addiction. So, what are the factors that affects or that causes vices? So we have psychological, social, environmental, and biological factors. Okay, first let's talk about the first factor, which is the psychological factor. So psychological factors such as low self-esteem, depression, anxiety, and other mental health issues can predispose individuals to vices as a means of coping or, escaping. So next is we have the social factors such as peer pressure, exposure to negative influences, and of course, a lack of support system can contribute to the development of vices. So next we have the environmental factors such as easy access to substances or opportunities for engaging in harmful behaviors can increase the chances of developing vices. Lastly is we have the biological factors such as the genetic predisposition and physiological vulnerabilities can of course play a role in development of certain vices such as addiction. So next is we have the excessive smoking. So what is excessive smoking or what is smoking? Okay, so the definition of smoking is that it is the act of inhaling and exhaling the fumes of a burning plant material such as marijuana and hashish. However, the act itself is most commonly associated with tobacco, which contains nicotine, which is an alkaloid that is addictive. It is dangerous as it contains both stimulating and tranquilizing psychoactive effects. So next is we have the different types of smoking. So first we have the cigarette, next are the cigars, the pipes, and the shisha. So cigarette is a tobacco wrapped in a roll of paper, whereas cigars are tobacco wrapped in a tobacco leaf or a leaf of another plant. Then next is we have the pipes, which are loose leaf tobacco smoke in a pipe. And then lastly, we have the shisha, which is a device used to smoke tobacco, consisting of a base filled with water, a tube, and a bowl where you burn tobacco, which is this one. So next is we have the causes of smoking. So we have addiction, patterns, and of course emotions. So the first, let's talk about addiction. Nicotine is the main addictive substance in tobacco, affecting the brain and causing dependence in most regular smokers. So it also creates a quick buzz that fades fast, so leading to a repeated use and increased tolerance. So quitting can cause withdrawal symptoms like irritability, sadness, trouble sleeping, and of course, increased hunger. So next is patterns. Smoking often becomes part of a daily activity or a daily routine. So it is linked to activities like relaxing and of course socializing. Next is we have the emotions. So many people smoke to cope up with PTSD, stress, or any negative emotions. So next, we have the excessive use of alcohols. So what is alcoholism? So alcoholism is drinking excessively, which leads to alcoholism. So it is the excessive and repetitive drinking of alcoholic beverages to the extent that the drinker is repeatedly harmed or harms others. So because of the excessive use of alcohol, it is usually considered to be compulsive and undermarkedly diminished voluntary control. Thus, alcoholism is considered by a majority, but of course not all, clinicians as addiction and a disease. So next is we have the causes of alcoholism. We have the stress relief, the family history, mental health, and increased drinking behavior. So first, let's talk about the stress relief. So people tend to drink to unwind or relax as it helps others to, of course, relax and calm down. However, for those who develop alcoholism, drinking becomes a coping mechanism which turns into a maladaptive repeating pattern. Next is we have the family history. So ADH1B and ADLH2 genes, which controls alcohol metabolism, are factors that develop alcoholism. So family history contributes to alcoholism as it can be genetic. So moreover, those who do not have the genetic risk factor may develop alcoholism if they are raised in an environment that encourages or normalizes the maladaptive drinking behaviors. Next is we have the mental health. So many people turn to alcohol in order to lessen the symptoms of their condition and repeat the drinking, which can increase one's tolerance. So people with mental health conditions such as bipolar disorder, post-traumatic stress disorder, depression, and others can be at an elevated risk for developing alcoholism, such as a co-occurring disorder. Lastly, we have the increased drinking behavior, which is the more frequent a person drinks, the more their tolerance may rise. So this then requires a person to drink more or to consume more alcohol to produce the desired effect or the desired buzz. So in other words, vices like smoking and alcoholism are often rooted in a deeper emotional, psychological, and social issues. Understanding these causes helps us to make better choices and of course support others in doing the same. So thank you everyone. If you have any questions for me, kindly save them for later so that I can answer them. So thank you everyone.
That ends our first speaker for today. Now let's move on to the next speaker, Miss Leonar, who will be discussing the effects of excessive smoking and drinking on our health.
Hello everyone, so today I will be talking about the effects of vices on body systems. So the body system systems commonly affected by excessive smoking and drinking are the following: the digestive system, the respiratory system, cardiovascular system, and the nervous system. The digestive system is directly in contact with the alcohol we drink. This is why it's one of the main systems that are affected by excessive drinking. The respiratory system is also in direct contact with the things that we smoke. So that also explains why it's heavily affected. And due to the damage done to these two, the cardiovascular system is also affected as well as the nervous system because we perceive these as somewhat rewards. So our heart rates will change due to the chemicals present in these substances, and the way we think also will change. So, starting off with excessive smoking. Smoking causes pulmonary and cardiovascular diseases such as emphysema, COPD, bronchitis, heart disease, and lung cancer. This is due to the presence of nicotine as well as other harmful substances found in cigarettes, and it also fills our lungs with carbon monoxide, which is why it causes a number of diseases. And number two, smoking causes addiction if used for long periods of time and can lead to functional issues in the brain. Because, like I said, smoking is perceived as somewhat of a reward. So when we smoke frequently, the dopamine receptors in our brain will also shift their function. Here is according to the World Health Organization, 2025, smoking causes the death of more than 8 million people in a year, including 1.3 non-smokers who come in contact with secondhand smoke, because also smoking releases harmful substances into the environment and not only our lungs. Moving on to excessive drinking. Excessive drinking can cause liver diseases such as cirrhosis and stomach ulcers. This is because alcoholic drinks are usually considered acidic, and our stomachs are also considered acidic due to the hydrochloric acid inside them. So when we mix two acids together, it can irritate our stomach lining, causing inflammation in our stomach. And apart from the digestive system, excessive drinking can also cause mental health issues because for the same reasons for smoking, um, it's perceived usually as rewards. And if you can notice, people usually drink during celebrations. So that's how it's perceived as a reward. And according to the World Health Organization in 2025, excessive drinking caused around 2.6 million deaths worldwide during 2019, with 1.6 million deaths being caused by non-communicable diseases due to excessive drinking. So I have a question and I'm looking for a participant. Miss, what's your name?
My name is Erika Gagate.
Okay, so the question is, why does smoking kill more than 8 million people a year?
Smoking can kill around 8 million people a year due to the harmful substances that the cigarettes has, such as nicotine, which can lead to the people's death.
Thank you, Ms. Erika. Can you give her a round of applause? That's all. So thank you for listening.
So thank you, Miss Leonar, for that informative and eye-opening discussion. No? Now let's proceed to the next topic. the effectiveness or the effects of excessive smoking and drinking on our lifestyle. This will be discussed by Miss Servando.
So, hello everyone! Okay po ba tayo today? Okay, so everyone's still alive! Okay. So next is, let's talk about the relationship between the excessive smoking, alcohol use, and health risks. So, as you can see in this table, smoking and alcohol use both have significant effects on various organs in the body. Let's start by discussing the organs affected by each. When we talk about the excessive smoking, we know that it mainly affects the lungs, heart, and blood vessels. Smoking damages the lung over time, increasing the risk of serious disease like cancer and emphysema. It also contributes to heart disease and can lead to stroke due to the damage to blood vessels. So I have a question, everyone. So can anyone think of the other health issues related to the lungs or heart that smoking might cause? Everyone? Yes, ma'am.
Chronic bronchitis.
Oh, very good, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Please sit down. So, on the other hand, alcohol use has its own set of targets. It mainly affects the liver, brain, and heart, causing issues like memory loss and cognitive decline. Like smoking, alcohol can also contribute to heart disease and increase the risk of stroke. So, next is, let's talk about the disease caused by excessive smoking and alcohol use. For smoking, the diseases are quite severe. We know that the lung cancer is leading to a cause of death among the smokers, and smoking also contributes to emphysema and stroke. Over time, the damage to the heart and blood vessels can lead to serious cardiovascular disease. Now let's move on to the mental health. Both excessive smoking and drinking have severe consequences for our mental well-being. For smoking, the addiction itself can create significant anxiety and depression. Smoking also impairs brain function, leading to a reduced ability to think clearly, focus, and even process emotions. Over time, smoking can contribute to depression and anxiety. I have a question. Ma'am? What is your name, ma'am?
Precious.
How old are you po?
I'm 27 years old.
Ma'am, how do you think that addiction affects the person's emotional and mental state?
It causes anxiety, depression, and as well as mental issues.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Sit down. So, as for alcohol use, excessive drinking often leads to depression, memory loss, and general decline in mental health. People who abuse alcohol often experience mood swings and emotional instability, which can also impact their personal relationship and their daily life. So, let's move on to the lifestyle impact. So now let's talk about how these habits affect a person's lifestyle. For someone who smokes, they might experience shortness of breath, reduced stamina, and constant fatigue. This can interfere with their daily activities, work performance, Moreover, addiction makes it even harder for someone to quit and improve their lifestyle. And similarly, excessive alcohol use leads to fatigue, poor concentration, and often emotional instability, which can disrupt both personal and work life. And the physical and mental toll of drinking can also lead to social uh, isolation and difficulty maintaining healthy relationships. So, what do we know about the common risks of excessive smoking and alcohol use? Both of these habits significantly increase the risk of early death and chronic diseases like cancer, heart diseases, and stroke. They also take a toll on both physical health and mental well-being. In conclusion, it's clearly that both smoking and drinking carry serious risks that affect almost every aspect of our lives. The good news is awareness and prevention strategies can significantly reduce these risks and help improve overall health. Remember that moderation and awareness are key when it comes to smoking and drinking. It is important to be mindful of the impact these habits have on your health, both physically and mentally, and take action to protect your well-being. Thank you for your attention. If you have any question or thoughts, feel free to ask later. Okay? Thank you guys!
So, thank you, Miss Servando, for helping us understand how our lifestyle is also affected by these harmful habits. So, now that we have learned how excessive smoking and drinking can impact our health and lifestyle, the next important question is what can we do to prevent it? What steps are we willing to do or to stop to reduce these habits? So to answer that, let's hear from Ms. Gagate and Ms. Antonio, who will share some helpful strategies and practical solutions.
Good day once again, everyone. I'm Precious Nicole V. Antonio.
And I am Erika Gagate. Today we'll be talking about a simple but powerful way to reduce the risk of excessive smoking and alcohol use.
So these habits are harmful to health, lifestyle, and relationships. But the good news is there are solutions that really work.
So let's go ahead and explore 5 key strategies that can help protect individuals, families, and communities.
So let's begin with the first strategy. Okay, so the first strategy is restrict access. So this means making it hard for people, especially the youth, to obtain cigarettes and alcohol. First, we need to enforce the legal age limit for buying these products. Second, limit where they are sold, like not allowing stores to sell them near schools or hospitals. And third, increase taxes and prices. Research shows that when prices goes up, consumption goes down, especially among young people who may not afford them anymore. So, if people can easily access harmful substances, they're less likely to use them regularly.
So let us proceed to the next one. So the next one is provide quit smoking and alcohol recovery programs. Telling someone to stop is not enough. Many people want to quit but don't know how to. That's why we need quit smoking clinics with counseling and medication like nicotine patches, rehabilitation centers for alcohol dependents, community-based support like Alcoholic Anonymous, and recovery is possible. But people need guidance, resources, and encouragement along the way.
So the fourth one is education and awareness campaigns. If people understand the risks early, they're more likely to make healthier choices. Schools can teach about substance abuse and how to resist peer pressure. Communities can host seminars and discussions. Mass media like TV and social media can spread messages of prevention and healthy living. Education is not about giving facts, it is about helping people make better decisions for their future.
So let's move on to the last strategy, which is support systems. Addiction isn't just physical, it is emotional and social too. That's why we need family support system, parents and siblings who guide and encourage, peer pressure, friends, and mentors who serve as role models, workplace wellness programs, where employers offer counseling and health programs. People are more likely to change when they feel supported, not judged.
Okay, so to conclude, reducing the risk of excessive smoking and drinking isn't about one big solution. It's about many small, consistent efforts. By combining personal discipline, education, community programs, and policy changes, we create a society where healthy choices become the easier choices.
Let's remember, preventing is always better than cure. So let's work together to raise awareness, support recovery, and protect future generations. Lastly, if you have any questions, save it for later.
Again, think wisely, choose health, live better. Thank you!
So thank you for all your attention and participation. We hope that this session helped you better understand the long-term risks of smoking and drinking. So remember, awareness is the first step toward making positive changes. So let's continue to choose health for ourselves and for those around